absolutely beautiful. Hey guys, welcome back to the Tom's Outdoors Intro to Fly Fishing series. We're out here on the Tumut and we're going to look at a very important aspect of fly fishing which quite commonly gets overlooked, and that's what we call line control and mending. We've worked on all different things so far. We've worked on casting, we've looked at rigging. We're finally getting out onto the water thinking about fishing, and what we need to do is be able to present that fly properly and then stay in control of it at all times. Now this is quite simple. It means if I'm fishing in, let's say, a little stream, if you just imagine this river's cut into a little channel, I'm in a little river, I'm wading up or I'm walking upstream and I'm fishing up, which is, going to be 90% of your fishing here in Australia. And if I cast upstream, what I need to do is get control of that line and pull it back in as the current brings it down. I'm just picking up the slack. If I don't, what will happen is that slack will start forming a big loop here at my tip, and if I get a fish, I'll miss it. So we always want to keep in control of our line. We're ready to strike or we're ready to recast just by picking up that slack that comes back towards us. Now that's quite straightforward. That's just fishing upstream. You might do that with a dry fly or with a little indicator rig. Now we're going to look at fishing more across currents, and this is when things get a little bit more interesting. As you start picking up bigger rivers, and say I want to fish over here, now if I don't do anything, what's going to start happening is that line is going to start pulling along in the current, and it's going to pull my fly up and away from where I want it to be. It's going to make it look all unnatural. Let's say this was a dry fly. If I cast across at a fish that I can see, yep, okay, it's looking good for a second, and then all of a sudden I get this big bow in the line that starts pulling on my fly. Now, if that's a dry fly, it's going to make it scoot unnaturally across the water. And if I've got nymphs under there, under an indicator, they're going to get pulled right to the top and never get down to the fish. So how are we going to fix this problem? Well, it's really easy. We just mend it. What we're going to do when we're casting across stream or across an upstream, we're going to lay our line down, then we're going to come up and over and mend the line. And you see how I've created a bow in the opposite direction. I can even do one again. A second mend there. And now, instead of casting out, having one short drift that then starts dragging, now what I've done is I've cast, I've come up and over to mend. Now I'm getting a great drift. It's nice and deep if they're nymphs, or it's nice and natural if it's a dry. Might even get another one there. There we go, and mend again. Plus, if a fish grabs it, I'm in good contact to strike and I can recast easily. Now that's the most straightforward mend. That's an upstream mend because we're coming up against the current. Most of the time when we're fly fishing, we're fighting what we call drag. When we get that bow in the line and it pulls that fly or indicator either across the surface or underneath the water surface too quickly. Now drag sometimes can be a bad thing, but sometimes it's a really good thing. For instance, on this river in the evenings, fish love a fly that's dragging across the top. They come up and they just smoke it. They're pretty stupid that way. One of the best ways to get more drag on your fly to make this happen is to mend in the opposite direction, to mend downstream. And you see I make that bow even bigger and that speeds up my fly. So if I cast across and mend upstream, generally that slows down my fly. I get a deeper drift, I get a more natural drift. But if I mend downstream, it speeds up my fly. I get a more aggressive drift. I might be imitating what we call a skating caddis. Or I might be fishing a big woolly bugger down there and I want to speed it up and I want it to lift up out of the water column. Sometimes, in fact, a lot of the time, when we're indicator nymphing, and there's a great video on this that Pat did called Indicator Nymphing Big Rivers, the link for which will be somewhere around here, we might cast up, we might start with an upstream mend, and we're getting down to our fish, then we might do another one, keep getting down. Then, you know what? Nymphs move sometimes. We've got to get them deep first, but I'll wake it up with a downstream mend. Bang, wake it up, whoo, bang, good night Irene. Those are upstream and downstream mends. There are various other variations as we go along, try saying that 5 times fast. And if you ever want to learn more about mending, try booking a guided day. Because if there's one thing Pat and I say more than anything else in the world, it's mend, as you should.